My friends, welcome back to our channel. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most sensational, controversial, and highly debated issues rocking India right now: the ban on online money games, the legal challenge it has just faced, and what this means for millions of players, investors, and the future of India's booming digital economy. This is not just a story about gaming. This is a story about law, economy, jobs, culture, morality, and even India's global image in the digital age. Over the next 40 minutes, I'll take you through the full picture. Why the government banned money-based online games. How big companies like Dream11 and A23 are fighting back. What's at stake for ordinary Indians? And whether this case could change the future of online entertainment and finance in our country. So sit tight, because what you're about to hear could impact not just gamers, but every Indian household connected to the digital economy. Let's begin with the background. Online gaming in India has been on a meteoric rise over the past decade. With cheap data, affordable smartphones, and a young, tech-savvy population, India became the largest market for mobile gaming downloads in the world. But here's the catch. While casual gaming was booming, the fastest-growing segment was not just fun games, but real money games like poker, rummy, fantasy cricket, and betting-style apps. For some, these platforms became a source of entertainment and even extra income. For others, they turned into a trap, with stories of addiction, financial loss, and even personal tragedies linked to gambling-like habits. Now, the government faced a serious dilemma. On one hand, the industry was worth billions, generating jobs, investments, and tax revenue. On the other hand, there were concerns about gambling addiction, money laundering, and the exploitation of young users. And so, earlier this year, India passed a sweeping ban on online money games, effectively shutting down platforms that allowed real money play. At first, it looked like the end of the road for companies like Dream11, A23, MPL, and dozens of smaller startups. Overnight, their revenues collapsed. Fact, Dream11 itself reported a 95% drop in earnings within weeks of the ban. Startups that had raised millions from investors suddenly faced bankruptcy. But this story didn't end there, 'cause this week, history was made. K23, one of India's biggest gaming companies, filed the first legal challenge against the ban. This is a turning point. This is no longer just about government policy. This is now about the courts, the Constitution, and the rights of Indian citizens. Let's break it down. A23 and other companies argue that skill-based games are not gambling. They say that rummy, poker, and fantasy cricket require knowledge, practice, and analysis, not just luck. They also point out that India's own Supreme Court, in earlier judgments, has recognized skill-based games as legitimate activities, separate from pure gambling. So, their legal argument is clear. The government's blanket ban unfairly lumps skill-based games with gambling, violating both business rights and individual freedoms. On the other side, the government argues that in practice, these games are indistinguishable from gambling for most users. Whether or not there is skill, the risk of financial harm is too high. And so, for the sake of public safety, the government insists the ban is justified. Now, let's pause here for a moment and reflect. This is not just a legal fight. This is about the future of digital India. Let me give you 3 big reasons why this matters. First, jobs and economy. The online gaming industry was projected to cross $3.6 billion by 2029. Thousands of young Indians work in coding, design, marketing, and customer service for gaming companies. If the ban stands, these jobs vanish. The courts strike it down, the sector could rise again. Second, investments and global image. Global investors like Tiger, Global, Sequoia, and others have poured billions into Indian gaming startups. If India suddenly bans entire industries overnight, investors may hesitate to put money into Indian tech again. That could hurt not just gaming, but startups across the board. Third, freedom and regulation. This case will set a precedent. The courts say the government can ban gaming apps outright. What stops it from banning other digital businesses tomorrow? But if the courts push back, it could force the government to shift towards regulation instead of prohibition. Now let's dive into the players involved. Dream 11, once India's fantasy sports giant, now struggling to survive. MPL Mobile Premier League, backed by big investors, forced to downsize massively. A23, the company leading the legal battle. Small startups, many already shut down. And let's not forget the millions of users. For them, this is personal. Some argue it's their right to play skill games with their own money. Others say the government is right to protect families from debt and addiction. This story also has a political angle. Prime Minister Modi's government has been pushing for a digital India and an Atman-Nirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India. But banning entire sectors sends mixed signals. Opposition leaders are already using this issue to attack the government, accusing it of killing jobs and discouraging innovation. At the same time, many conservative groups support the ban, arguing that gambling-like activities destroy families and encourage reckless spending. So, this is not just law and economics. This is about values, culture, and politics. Now let's look at the bigger picture. Globally, most countries have struggled with how to handle online money games. Some, like the UK, allow them but with heavy regulation, age limits, deposit limits, advertising restrictions, and addiction support. Others, like China, have imposed harsh restrictions, especially on youth. India now faces the same choice: ban or regulate. And that's what makes this court case so crucial. If the judiciary rules in favor of a 23, India may be forced to create a regulatory framework instead of a ban, something that allows the industry to survive while protecting users. But if the government wins, the ban could stay in place permanently, driving the industry underground or pushing players to unsafe, unregulated foreign websites. Friends, let's step back and ask the big question. What is the balance between freedom and protection? Should adults be free to spend their money on skill games? Or should the state step in to protect them from harm? And if the government steps in here, where does it stop? Do we ban stock trading because people lose money? Do we ban alcohol because it ruins families? Or do we regulate, educate, and let individuals make their own choices? These are not easy questions. But the answers will shape the digital landscape of India for decades to come. As we near the conclusion of this deep dive, let's imagine two scenarios. Scenario 1, the ban stays. The industry collapses. Startups shut down. Jobs vanish. India's image as a digital hub suffers. Gamers move to illegal or foreign apps. The government claims victory, but the black market grows. Scenario 2, the courts push back. The ban is struck down. Regulation comes in, age limits, deposit caps, addiction support. The industry revives. Jobs return. Investors feel reassured. India emerges as a balanced, regulated global leader in digital gaming. Which future do you prefer? In conclusion, my friends, the case of a 23 versus the government of India is not just about rummy or poker. It's about the soul of digital India. It's about whether India will embrace innovation with smart regulation or whether it will shut down industries overnight. It's about the balance between morality, economy, and freedom. And it's about the future of millions of young Indians who see digital platforms as their path to success. The courts will now decide. But one thing is certain: the outcome of this battle will echo far beyond gaming. It will shape how India approaches the entire digital economy in the years ahead. So stay tuned, because this story is only just beginning. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, share, and comment with your thoughts. Should India regulate money games, or should the ban stay? I want to hear your voice in this national debate. And make sure to subscribe, because we'll bring you the latest updates as this legal battle unfolds. Updates that could change the future of India's digital economy.